Professor, in lesson 9, you very clearly state that Buddhism is concerned about economic and social development of society. When we talk about economic development, there are two key concepts, namely poverty and wealth. Can you explain what is the Buddhist attitude towards wealth? Of course, that leads to the question of Buddhist attitude towards poverty.
Poverty is something that exists in the world. That is what Buddha has said. There is a well-known statement. It is a part of suffering.
Okay.
Dālidyam bhikkhave dukkhaṃ lokasmi. Poverty is suffering. What I say is, if poverty is suffering, we will not have to experience poverty. What we will have to do is to understand what poverty is, because dukkha is to be understood, not to be experienced. If it is to be understood, I think the Buddha should give us the information for the understanding of poverty and getting rid of that. I think the entire Tripitaka consists of this advice to get rid of poverty. Now, to get rid of poverty, one must be rich, one must have wealth, because wealth discards poverty, sends away poverty. In Buddhism, I think there are various discourses where this point is discussed. The importance of wealth, how to earn wealth, how to spend wealth, all these are discussed in detail in the discourses. For example, in the discourses like Vyaggappajja, Pattakamma, I think in the lesson I have mentioned so many discourses. How to earn wealth is clearly explained. It is wrong to say or understand that richness is condemned in Buddhism and poverty is praised in Buddhism. Poverty is condemned and richness is praised in Buddhism. What the Buddha says is that everybody should strive to be rich so that he could lead a righteous life.
Professor, sometimes in general religious context, people maintain that poverty is a blissful situation, or poverty is more desirable for someone to behave religiously, and wealth necessarily leads to corruption. You briefly mentioned that Buddhism doesn't uphold these two views, but could you elaborate those ideas a little bit more?
In various other religious systems, poverty is, I think, praised. You are born poor because you are blissful. Someone would come and help you to go beyond this and finally the liberation. This position is not upheld in Buddhism. What Buddhism says is, being poor can be got rid of by striving hard, earning wealth, and attending to what is to be done in life. There are various occupations taken into consideration, the professions to be attempted. So I think Buddhism has nothing to do with poverty. It criticizes, it rejects, it always maintains that man should be materially rich and powerful. Only then he can lead a righteous life, ethical life, because poverty takes you to unethical means of earning. The poor man always tends to rob others, taking what is not given, engage in various kinds of unethical occupations.
Simply because lack of.
Otherwise,
lack of
he can't
resources.
live. Otherwise,
Right,
he
right.
can't live. He can't earn his living. But if man has something to look after himself and his family, I think he is there to take a religious life.
I see. Professor, would it be correct to say that even in order to realize dukkha, you have to be somewhat materially self-sufficient in your life? For example, for a very poor person, economically very deprived person, it will be very difficult for him to understand poverty itself, because he is right within it. So even to realize the first noble truth, to be in economically well-off condition is more conducive. Is that correct?
That is correct. The best example is Prince Siddhartha. He led a luxurious life, and then while leading the luxurious life, he realized that there is something called suffering in life. So he wants to get rid of that. If he did not lead a luxurious life, I personally think that he would not have thought of this particular problem of suffering. So ultimately he left the household life and found his path to deliver. The general tendency in the society and of the man is to do wrong things if he is poor. I think poverty takes man to unethical behavior.
So this simply doesn't mean that if you are rich, you are behaving well. But on the contrary, if you are poor, then of course there is more likelihood that you will be doing wrong things.
Now take the present examples. There are various pockets of the society in Sri Lanka where there are poor people. In those pockets, crimes are more. That means that poverty takes them to that type of things. Therefore, Buddhism, I think, tells us to earn sufficiently so that you can go along the path easily.
Yeah. Professor, let me change the direction slightly. When we talk about poverty and also wealth, sometimes we are being told that when you take, say, so-called developed countries, they are so developed, and in the other, like Asian countries or African countries, there is so much underdevelopment. Now, this development or underdevelopment is measured purely on judging by economic conditions. What can we say from the point of view of Buddhism about poverty? Isn't it ultimately also a kind of attitude or some kind of mental attitude? And the wealth cannot be merely measured by material wealth. There can be alternative concept of wealth. What can we say about these things from Buddhist point of view?
Let me say this first. It is generally said that Buddhist countries are poor. This statement is wrong because there are rich Buddhist countries also of the world. Take the example of Japan, Korea, and various other countries. Even though they belong to the Mahayana tradition, they are Buddhist countries. They are rich. Now, Thailand is a Theravada Buddhist country. It is developing. It has already developed. So, what it means is that Buddhism does not take nations to poverty. It is up to the individuals of the nation to raise the country from the poverty level. I think the weakness is not of the religion but of the individual. Take the case of Sri Lanka. We had a long history. As we know, during the periods of Polonnaruwa, Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka was a developed country. It had I think trade with all other countries in the world. It was a developed country. But Buddhism was practiced by most of the people in the country during those periods. Therefore, I don't think that a particular religion has something to do with poverty. Poverty is a result of the attitudes of the people. That is one thing. The other thing, Professor Sangha, I have mentioned in the lesson, there is a beautiful discourse, I think you know this, that is called, I have translated that into English as Discourse on the Development.
I see.
Yes, Vaddhisutta. Vaddhisutta, Discourse on the Development. In that, Buddha says that there are two kinds of development. That is material development and spiritual development. There may be countries which are materially developed, but spiritually not. That is not proper development. Proper development is the development of materialistic needs and the spiritual aspirations. As far as the Theravada Buddhist countries are concerned, I personally think that you can't label them as poor, because spiritually speaking, these countries are more developed than the developed countries. I don't say that we are not poor when we take the material aspect.
Income or something.
In that sense it is poor. But we should not be bothered about that, because we have other side of development.
I think what is important is, as you say, if a country is economically poor, I mean, we can say that that is simply because the people have not been following the teachings of the Buddha. Now, Professor, for example, the country like Bhutan, particularly Bhutan, came up with this concept of gross national happiness. Now, the whole idea was you cannot measure development by how many television sets a country uses, but rather how people are satisfied with their life. Now, is that the Buddhist way of looking?
That is the Buddhist way of life. I think take the rural areas of Sri Lanka, for example. The people, they are happy. They are not bothered about various things, the televisions and other gadgets in the developed countries. They live happily. They do whatever they have to do for the individual and the society. They perform religious activities. They go to the temple. They do whatever they can to develop the temple also.
Right.
They don't feel that they are poor, because they lead a satisfied life. That is what development is.
I think, Professor, that's very important, because ultimately if people are satisfied, if people are happy with their life, I think that is what ultimately counts. Sometimes the society may be materially very rich, but people are experiencing unrest and they are not happy, their life is not in harmony with nature. So all these things matter. Ultimately, when we talk, I think from Buddhist point of view about wealth and poverty, I think Buddhism is very realistic about these two concepts. So poverty is not something praiseworthy. Poverty has to be, got rid of, but it is not necessarily the lack of certain material wealth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.